Hey everyone, it's Night Haro here, and today I want to talk about a skill that hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention with Update 35, and I think it's going to be even more important and more used in Update 36. So I just want to talk about it briefly here. And that skill is Arctic Blast. So this is a Warden skill, and it's kind of a unique skill. It's the only one that works quite like this that I'm aware of. Some skills heal and do damage, but this one does it in kind of a different way than any skill that I can at least think of off the top of my head, where you get a burst heal, but then it does damage over time. So this is actually a damage over time ability that you're going to be keeping up. It lasts for 20 seconds, and it affects everything within a 6-meter area. Now, moving into the new Update 36, it looks like if you're on a Magden, if you're on a Magicka Warden, you are going to be probably rocking Ice Staff. And I would say that there's a very strong chance that you're also going to be rocking double Ice Staffs, but at least a single one. So with Arctic Blast, what it does is it has an increased chance of applying the chilled status effect. Now, if you apply the chilled status effect while holding an ice staff, it applies minor brittle, which is needlessly convoluted to say the least, but just remember you want to apply the chilled status effect while having an ice staff equipped, and that will apply minor brittle. Now, when minor brittle is applied, it lasts for 4 seconds. It can be procced again, and then that will further, for another 4 seconds, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of keep it up pretty much permanently without too much trouble. However, there historically has been another skill that is generally used to apply this, and that is Winter's Revenge. Now, Winter's Revenge also says it has an increased chance to apply the chilled status effect, and so does Arctic Blast. However, I can tell you from testing, simply applying just this one skill with a non-charged ice staff with Winter's Revenge, you end up with a 64% brittle uptime, and then instead with Arctic Blast, you end up with a 96, which 96 is effectively 100%, just because it takes a little bit to close out the combat. So anyways, you get effectively 100% minor brittle, which is an increase of about 33%, so an extra third. And I can tell you additionally from testing that if you have even one tick of Arctic Blast hit an opponent while you have a charged ice staff, and I think that's something more you would run on a healer, in this case a Warden healer, it will guaranteed apply minor brittle. That's how good it is. So if you have a charged ice staff on a Warden healer, if that's on your bar, and you're keeping up this skill, Arctic Blast, which lasts for 20 seconds, it will brittle for you with only one hit. Now, that means that all you got to do is bar swap every 4 seconds, once every 4 seconds, and cast some other skill on that bar, and you can maintain pretty much 100% brittle uptime. So that's pretty huge with a charged ice staff. If you don't have a charged ice staff, you won't get 100%, but you will get a pretty good, decent uptime of brittle. And also another way to think about this is even if you're only bar swapping on a healer once every 8 seconds, and you're within range, which is only 6 meters, so it is a bit small, although 5 meters is melee range, so you could still be standing behind the DPS, it will apply brittle 100% of the time. So if you don't have a charge staff, it's not quite as good, but even if you're only applying it once every 8 seconds, you're still going to get a 50% brittle uptime, and you didn't have to do anything besides set your character up beforehand so that you have a charged ice staff, and then make sure you keep the skill up, which again lasts for 20 seconds. So it's a very long time. Now, this skill doesn't work amazing as on a healer. It's mostly just for the damage over time because it only heals you. But on a Warden, on any kind of Magicka Warden, moving into the next patch, this is a skill you're almost absolutely going to want. I haven't tested it myself, but Daedric over at Daedric ESO Guides, you can find his channel on YouTube, has done some testing with this, and he's told me it's doing significant damage. I don't recall exactly. I want to say like 5 or 6K. So over the course of a parse. So that's significant. And he's got a couple of Brittled in builds already up. So a really interesting skill. I honestly have been, kind of arguing that I think even currently it could be used. But as far as being part of my brittle build, I had already added this in because I think in a lot of situations you want to self-heal, and this is a great one to go with. It's much better than Vines. And the fact that it has a damage over time component whenever you need to self-heal, which is oftentimes in trials, and going along with the survivability of a brittle build, having this skill up, having it active at all times is going to be huge. So it's looking really cool for next patch, and it's something that I really think that healers can and probably should keep an eye out for and consider using. Tanks as well, depending on the situation. Again, you get a 6-meter radius, you're holding an ice staff, use this ability, and you're gonna apply brittle. Now, you only need 1 tick with a charge staff, and it seems like it's almost 100%, if not 100% chance of applying brittle, at least in my testing. But even without it, you're still gonna apply within a couple of seconds, and that's pretty nice because you can precast this before you even go into combat. So, a little bit less useful on supports, but I think something that is really gonna lend itself towards having a Brittleton in your group pretty much at all times moving forward. I don't know if this is the intent, but I think this is really great for accessibility because this is a new buff that you're going to be able to have in the group, and you just need to use this one ability every 20 seconds, have an ice staff, and you're going to keep brittle up all the time. And so that's huge moving forward with brittle setups, because that's going to help the entire group, because that's extra crit damage that is just going to be kind of along for the ride. From now on, you're going to be wanting, not only you're going to want a Zens, an Alkosh, DK, an EC Crow, you're going to want a Brittleton moving forward, in my opinion. Now, super sweaty groups, you can have a tank and a healer use destructive clinch or destructive reach and still apply this. You can still do that and still use that ability with a brittle build. That's totally viable. But the thing is, for a lot of newer people, that's really hard to do, especially on a support. They just can't do that. Hitting that skill once every 4 seconds, or even on a rotation with 2 people doing it, it's just too much to ask. They're trying to do the basics, and I'm all about this skill now, being able to kind of replace that and really have a reason and an easy mode for having a Brittleton in group. They don't have to do anything super sweaty, super complicated. So if you thought this was interesting or useful, I am going to be branching out in the near future and doing more videos like this, just because I think there's some things that I'm going to make it part of a series, and it's going to be called Things You Might Not Know, and just cover these things you might have missed if you weren't keeping up on the patch notes or recent changes. You've been away from the game for a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to be covering this kind of stuff in short videos in the future. So if you like this format, you enjoyed this video, even if you didn't enjoy this video, but you like the format moving forward, let me know by leaving a like. Also, if you want to support the channel, if you've been watching for a little bit, you can now become a member of the channel. So it's kind of like a sub a little bit on Twitch. So it starts off, the lowest dollar value is $1 a month. If you'd like to become a member, you'll get early access to videos and some other stuff. You can check it out, and it should be just on the bottom right of this screen. So anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.